Shalom everybody, welcome back. We're continuing after a long interruption or break back in Likutey Halakhot, again section Chaim, the laws of the blessings of Hoda'ah, of giving thanks, discourse number 6. We're still in the end of paragraph 24. It's such a long paragraph, but Reb Noson really went out of his ways to find details in the whole incident of Yaakov Avinu's dream of the ladder, and then the subsequent promise, the Neder that he took, and all the details, and how he connected it so amazingly to Likutey Moharan, lesson 24, our lesson that we're learning already for a long time. So we're towards the end of the lesson, and we're continuing where Reb Noson left off in breaking down the verses of Yaakov Avinu's Neder, and what he did when he woke up after this dream of the ladder and Hashem's promise. And Reb Noson is showing the details specifically mentioned in lesson 24 on the rectification of getting active and getting access to the infinite light, which shines hope. Now, it's required just a recap, but from a general view, Reb Noson is seeing in Yaakov Avinu a reflection of what every Jew goes through. Take a look. Yaakov Avinu is leaving the Holy Land. He's being pursued by his brother who wants to kill him, Esav. Esav sent Eliphaz. Eliphaz didn't want to kill Yaakov. Instead, he took all of his money, because a person who's poor is considered as if he's dead. So Yaakov has no wealth, no money, no nothing. And he's now going all alone through the deserts, whatever the hills, leaving the Holy Land. And who more than Yaakov Avinu would know the value of Eretz Yisrael? So you can imagine how pained he feels leaving the Holy Land. And in a personal level, wherever you are, whether you're in the diaspora in Eretz Yisrael, Yaakov leaving the Holy Land is considered technically a setback. In his case, it's leaving the Holy Land. In our case also, in our individual lives, we have similar setbacks where we feel we were immersed in a high level of holiness, of light, of Simcha, of Kedusha, and then we have to leave that. We're forced to, like Yaakov Avinu's case, he has to flee his brother, wants to kill him, so he's under pursuit, and plus, he's looking for a wife, because they told him, Yitzchak and Rivka told Yaakov, you can take a wife only from the family of Rivka. Okay, so he's in pursuit, and it's a difficult time, and he's trying his best to hold on. Yaakov Avinu, for sure, being a tzaddik, he's holding on. But what's taking place in his life is a symbol for us on our personal levels. So going back to the ideas of lesson 24, the two main points, the beginning point and the end point. Beginning point being besimcha, working on being besimcha, working on being positive, and that being the gateway to eventually lead access to the final goal, which is the Keter. The Keter shines the infinite light. Infinite light on a practical level connotes the idea of clarity in life. When going through frustration and trauma, not knowing what to do, feeling abandoned from Hashem, feeling just in crazy situations and not knowing what has hit a person, chas v'shalom, feeling abandoned. So what's needed is accessing infinite light, which shines clarity and hope to that person. But the way to get to it is through the Simcha. So the beginning point is Simcha. The end point is Keter. That Reb Noson already went into in the details already from the dream of Jacob's ladder, etc. Now, in between point A and B, there are also levels that Rabbi Nachman talks about in lesson 24. To explain, he says there that when a Jew works on building himself to be positive and happy, and then he takes that energy and puts it in performance of mitzvot, so by doing that, one actually elevates the holiness of Hashem, which we will call Malkhut, Hashem's kingship, which is trapped in evil domains and trapped in places where it's not proper, not fitting for this Malkhut of Hashem to be stuck in. When a Jew does successfully do a mitzvah with joy, that extracts the Malkhut from the domain of evil, from the low levels, bringing it up to what's called the levels of the feet. In the Kabbalah, the feet correspond to 3 lower sfirot: Netzach, Hod, Yesod. They're called the Klei Halicha, the vehicles for walking. Netzach is the right leg, Hod is the left, and Yesod is the brit, is the covenant, is the genital organ, which is placed between the two legs, but it indicates that momentum and fluctuation of the feet is determined by all three, not just the legs, but also the Yesod functioning as the bridge between the two legs, believe it or not, okay? So Rabbi Nachman explains, what does that mean, that you elevate Malkhut to the legs? That now that you do a mitzvah with joy, you've released God's presence, His holiness that was trapped all along. By doing the mitzvah b'simcha, you extract the Malkhut, bring it up to the level of legs. So that means that the mitzvah gains momentum. It gains movement, which means it activates positive energy. The positive energy is connoting the idea of walking. That leads to the next level, which is the arms, which are called Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet. The Chesed, the right arm, Gvura, the left arm, Tiferet is torso, also connecting. And the idea of activating the hands means that when the mitzvah, because it's done besimcha, gains momentum, it activates blessing. You generate to you positive energy. That's what it means on a practical level. You activate bracha, bracha being blessings, positive blessings. However, the true blessings you should seek to activate is the blessings of connecting to Hashem, of awareness of Hashem, of knowledge to Hashem. Okay? So he's going to say, Reb Noson, by the tzaddikim, and we said this earlier, in fact, Reb Noson mentioned this earlier, by tzaddikim, they use all worldly material, food, money, houses, and in them, they experience godliness. That's the goal of a Jew, ideally, that using this world to find the connection to God through them. That's the level of the tzaddikim. Average Jews try to do that also. That's why all mitzvot involve physical substance. You do the mitzvah of Shabbat with food, good food, dining, okay? Yom Kippur, it's refraining from food. Sukkot, you get an etrog, lulav, okay? There's the mitzvah of honoring guests. The mitzvah of charity involves money. Educating the children, you have to pay for their education. They go. Everything has some physical connection to it. Every mitzvah, okay? So that's the idea of having physical blessing, which really has within it the spiritual blessing of connection to God. Once these three are activated, the Malkhut, the legs, the arms, which contain within the blessing of the intellect, then one is tapping into the next stage, is called the Keter. So Reb Noson wants to show when Yaakov Avinu woke up from this dream, and Hashem promised him, I will allow you to experience the infinite light, the Keter, with all that's involved within it, in the ups and downs, the bounces and everything, fine. So, but that's the goal. If you start with Simcha, you get to that Keter and the rewards of the infinite light, that this is like the main job of the big tzaddikim and every Jew also. So when he woke up, he made a Neder. And to explain the idea of a Neder, when a Jew makes a Neder, he's actually connecting to the highest level possible. The word Neder is broken up into two words. Nun, dar. Nun, which is numerically equal to 50. At the 50th level, dar, does he reside? Does he live? Dar, anidar, dira. So nun dar means when a Jew takes upon himself a neder, which is like creating a new level of Torah. Because the Torah tells us already what to do, what not to do. A neder is a person takes upon himself, in addition to the Torah, he creates a new prohibition or an obligation. And he's obligated to do it just like he has to put on tefillin. He has to also do the neder. Once a person does a neder, it's now creating a new Torah from nothing. You can take any item, as long as it doesn't go against the standards of the Torah, and he takes upon himself as a neder to do it, the obligation is as important as keeping Shabbat, as Yom Kippur. It's the same level now, okay? So Yaakov Avinu did that. He activated the level of the neder. Why? Because the neder, where this idea that you can take from nothing and create a new Torah, shows that the Torah is hidden everywhere. If now you can create a new obligation from nothing to make a neder, or take upon yourself through a neder to give tzedakah now. So you had originally the obligation of tzedakah, or the mitzvah from tzedakah from the Torah. But now that a person does it as an obligation of a neder, so he's now obligated to give that tzedakah, not because it's just tzedakah, but because it's a neder. And he gets rewarded for fulfilling his neder, and also for the mitzvah of tzedakah. But by doing that, and creating now an obligation that wasn't there in the first place, so he's creating from a nothing that was nothing there in the first place, seemingly as an obligation, he now has made for himself a new Torah. So that power comes from the highest level, which is the Keter. The Keter in Kabbalah, on one hand, it's the 10th of the 10th Sefirot, the highest one, but also it connotes level 50, where 49 is everything below the Keter, and 50th gate is considered the highest maximum level capacity, called the Keter. So when a person does a Neder, he's actually going up all the way to the 50th level. So when Yaakov Avinu woke up, and Hashem showed him in the dream of the ladder, etc., and the promises Hashem made, you're going to have access to the infinite light, which is going to help you find your marriage partner, and then come back to Eretz Yisrael with a family and great wealth. Shavtav, you'll come back b'shalom, in peace, back to Eretz Yisrael. That all these promises Hashem kept him because of activating the infinite light, which he so needed, and which are a result of Yaakov trying to be a happy person. Because Yaakov, we're going to see, he epitomizes practical and complete joy. That's why there's a verse called, it reads, the verse, Yagel Yaakov Yismach Yisrael. Jacob has two names. Why does he have two names? Why is there Yaakov and also Yisrael, and we can still keep the first name? Because the idea is that Yaakov is able to balance being happy in any situation. Whether he's Yaakov, which means that the heel, who's going through major downs in life, he's able to have Gila. Yagel is a type of delight and rejoicing. And especially if he's Israel, which is Sar, Rosh on the top. That's what it connotes. Sar being like a minister, and a Rosh, those are the letters hidden in Yisrael. He's able to be Yismach, still for sure to be B'simcha, all the more so if he can be happy when he's Yaakov. So Yaakov is complete joy, okay? So because of his joy, he deserved the dream that Hashem revealed to him, the ladder and going up and all these amazing things that we explained earlier, of reaching the Keter, getting the light activated, and the rewards of the light, which is, in our context, the continuity of the Jewish existence. Because that's the whole story of Yaakov getting married, having kids, coming back to Eretz Yisrael. It's our story. It's our beginning point, which is so crucial in the history of the world that it should work out. So Hashem made this promise from a high level, because for sure, something so big as Yaakov bringing forth the 12 tribes, for sure there has to be opposition. For sure the evil will not want that to happen, represented by Esav and Lavan, etc., and all the tests that he went to Yaakov Avinu afterwards, even with Dinah and with the death of Rachel. Okay, still all these challenges he was able to hold on, only because Hashem promised him connection to the infinite light from the Keter. And this applies to every Jew also. That's the message here Reb Noson is trying to tell us, that for survival, like Yaakov Avinu needed Hashem to shine him from the highest level light, so too every Jew in his challenges, he will have to realize that in order to continue and to make it in life, I'm going to need nothing less than the highest levels of light, which is the light of the Keter. I have to. The tests are so difficult. That's what Yaakov Avinu is representing us, because he's the one who initiated the davening, the evening prayer. Davening in evening, which is darkness, connotes the idea of still holding on while it's dark, and having that ping-pong experience of life being bounced from Yaakov Yisrael, represented every Jew's life, that he has the ups and downs, the highs and lows, which you don't see in Avraham, you don't see in Yitzchak, but you see it in Yaakov. Okay, so much is dependent on Yaakov Avinu's success, and Hashem is showing us in the parsha Vayetzeh that we saw that for that to work out, Yaakov had to access the infinite light. And that's what Hashem showed him in the dream. And now, when Yaakov Avinu wakes up, he makes a neder to also, through the obligation of a vow, that what he's saying now is on condition to connect to the 50th level, which is the idea of the Keter. So the verse reads, let's take a look at the verse inside. Yaakov Avinu woke up. He, like we said in the last section, he erected a stone and poured oil over it, and then he actually starts his neder, which is the next verse. The verse here is chapter 28, verse 20. In verse 20, Yaakov said like this, Vayidar Yaakov neder lemor. And Jacob made a neder. Neder, did he make a neder? Vayidar Yaakov neder. Twice the redundancy, for sure there's depth in that. Saying the following. He nedered, and he vowed a vow, saying the following condition for his neder. Im ye Elohim imadi. We can't say if God will be with me, because Hashem already told him he would be with him. It's a whole discussion, by the way, in the Midrash. How do you interpret this verse? If Hashem told you Yaakov is going to be with you, so why are you doubting? Why are you saying im? So because of that, they don't read it as im. They write it like this: when Hashem will be with me, like He said He would, ushmarani badech, and it will take place the following other conditions. Number one, like He will be with me, like He said He would. Number two, and ushmarani baderech hazer asher anochi olech, and He will protect me on this pathway in which I am walking upon. And number three, v'natan li lechem le'echol u'beged libosh, and He will give me, like He said to me in the dream, bread to eat and a garment to wear, right? And then the next verse will continue, 21, Vishavti Vishalom, I'll come back to the house of my father, etc. We want to work on the beginning condition that He made, okay? The end of the Neder is that when Hashem will do these things for me, so when I come back, I will what I just made as an erected stone with oil poured over it will become an altar that I will offer a sacrifice on it. And in fact, that place where Yaakov Avinu made the stone, erected the stone and poured oil over it, was the future place of the Holy of Holies. Some say the Mizbeach, some say the actual Holy of Holies. Makes sense more that's the Holy of Holies. And He offered a sacrifice over there, the future place of the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash. We are concerned today on the 3 steps of His condition that He made when Hashem will fulfill the Neder, okay? So look how Reb Noson opens it up beautifully. Let's go back to remember the stages, but we'll recap them as we're reading Reb Noson. So Reb Noson writes like this: V'zeh, and this now is the meaning of the opening of the verse that we just read. The opening of the Neder that Yaakov is now presenting, the conditions of his vow. Im iyeh Elohim imadi. If, or it's better translated, when the Lord, Elohim is the term of Hashem. He didn't say Im iyeh Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, He said Elohim. And Reb Noson's pointing out, he specifically said the term Elohim. When the Lord will be with me. So Reb Noson says, what does that mean? What does it mean, and when the Lord will be with me? He's saying this refers to the initial stage of doing mitzvot with joy. Bechinat Malkhut. The term Elohim, Reb Noson is going to show us a proof to this, refers to Hashem's kingship. Hashem's kingship, Malkhut, in the Kabbalistic terminology, is referring to the lowest of the 10 sfirot. The first lowest sphere is called Malkhut, and our goal in this world is to elevate the Malkhut from the darkness. When we Jews do mitzvot, we're trying to reconnect Hashem's Malkhut, which is basically Hashem's divine presence, Hashem's presence in this world, His lordship, to extract it from the darkness of the world, reconnecting it to Hashem, its source, Hashem's presence back to His essence, and by doing so, revealing Hashem's light in this world. That's why we do mitzvot. Okay, we said this once, that mitzvah has in it hidden Yud Kei Vav Kei. You have the Vav Hei of mitzvah, the last 2 letters, that's Vav Hei from Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. And the Mem Tzadik is what's called a Atbash. It's a hidden representation of the first 2 letters, Yud Kei. How so? That when you take the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, so the first 11, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Chaf, and then the next 11, because in total there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and when you fold them, when you fold 11, the 22 make 22 letters folding to 11, so then the Aleph here corresponds to the Tav over here, so it's At, Bash, Aleph, Tav, Bet, Shin. When you do it like that, Mem in this format, which is over here, corresponds to the Yud over here, and the Tzadik refers to the Hey over here, okay? So Mem Tzadik is really Yud Kei hidden, and then there's Vav Hey of Yud Kei Vav Kei, showing that when you're doing mitzvah, you have the revealed part that's revealed in Vav Hey, the end 2 letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's the end because that's the only access we can have of Hashem's Yud Kei Vav Kei to be revealed in this world. We see Vav Hey in everything that's being done, okay? That's a class in itself. We can't really go that much into it right now. We've done it in previous classes though. But Mem Tzadik is hidden because Yud Kei can't be revealed openly. So it's hidden. By doing the mitzvot, activating the Malkhut, which is trapped in the darkness of exile, by doing the mitzvah, we're able to extract it and reconnect it, and thus shining Hashem's presence. So the mitzvah goes a long way in its revealed and hidden part, connecting Elohim, Hashem's lordship, which is the Malkhut, which is trapped in the world, reconnecting it to a Yud-Kei-Vav-Kei. So Hashem Elokim, Hashem becomes the Lord of this world. Because presently, on a simple level, Hashem is not revealed as being king of the world. People, the Goyim, the nations, they do as they wish. Not everybody recognizes God. Even within the Jewish people themselves, there's a major concealment of Hashem's presence, okay? So we have a long way to go. How it starts, though, is doing mitzvot, but with simcha. You can do mitzvot, great, but they're stagnant. However, when you do a mitzvah of joy, that extracts the holiness trapped. You can do a mitzvah without joy, and the mitzvah is stuck in the domain of evil while you're doing it, and it doesn't go out. It's great, you're rewarded, you do a mitzvah, but it stays down, waiting for that opportunity when you will finally do a mitzvah with joy. And this is crazy. When you finally do, after 5, 10, 15 years, one mitzvah b'simcha, it retroactively elevates all the other mitzvahs you did in the past 15 years, dead and not happy, it elevates them up. That's an extreme example, obviously. But that once in a while, blue moon, when you have a mitzvah that you're doing b'simcha, believe it or not, it's energized, it's added energy from all the previous mitzvah that were not done b'simcha. They all go up with that one mitzvah. And they're all waiting for that mitzvah that you do b'simcha to elevate them, okay? So nothing's ever lost. Everything's kept on standby until the Jew gets to do a mitzvah b'simcha. Okay? So going back, when the Lord will be with me, bechinat Malkhut. This is the idea of Malkhut, okay? And by the way, you would think then, if now im is not translated literally as if, so why doesn't the Torah just say, why couldn't Yaakov even just say, and when, ka'asher, that's a better word, ka'asher yeh Elokim imadi, and when the Lord will be with me in fulfilling his vow, when it will actually come to take the place. So why did the Torah just use straightforward the word ka'asher? Why the word im to represent this idea? Im connotes if, doubts, because the domain where the mitzvah, where the godliness, the Malkhut, also mitzvah, yes, is trapped. Rabbi Nachman calls, at the end of this lesson 24, Likutey Moharan, he calls it the changer of exchanges, where everything is mixed up. Good is mixed up with evil, right with wrong, truth with falsehood, purity with impurity. Everything is mumbled and mixed up. So im, if, connotes and denotes this domain of craziness, of everything being mixed up, mumble-jumbled. Okay? That's why it's fitting that Yaakov said im, in the domain of if, which is the domain of the exchange chambers, yet Elokim imadi, I will be able to connect to the Elokim, the Malkhut there, and elevate it with me by doing mitzvot while trapped in the domain of if. So it fits in amazingly the wording of if. So now Reb Noson wants to show you, how do I know that Elokim connotes Malkhut? And he borrows the idea from an amazing verse from the book of Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 74, verse 12. He says like this, Bechinat, how do I know that Malkhut is Elokim? Because like the verse reads in chapter 74, verse 12, Elokim Malki Mikedem. And the Lord is my king from your, Mikedem, from the beginning is the Lord my God. Let's look at the verse inside, because we want to understand. I understand Reb Noson's making the connection, because the verse reads, Elokim Malki Mikedem. Elokim, the Lord, is my king from before, Mikedem. So I got the connection. But Reb Noson specifically chose this verse. This verse is unbelievable. Take a look at this verse. Okay, let's look at it inside. He's saying, in the previous verses, Hashem, why are you hiding your face? Why are you hiding yourself from me? Verse 11 reads in this chapter 74, Lama tashiv yadecha v'minecha, Hashem, why when I'm going out to battle do you refrain your arm and your right hand from helping me? Mikerev chekcha chaleh, cease, enough already from hiding your hands in your bosom. Hashem, come out to help us, okay? Because you helped us in the past. Why now you're not helping us? The psalm is reading. And then the next verse, our verse, Velokim malki mikedem, I have proof, Hashem, that you were with me. Because Velokim, Hashem, you were the Lord, you were my king in the past. And what's the proof to that? Well, what did you do? What's the showing of that you're my king? Po'el yeshuot bekerev haaretz. Because you make salvations from within the earth. There's so much on this verse. Okay? Just look at the end part of the verse. Po'el yeshuot bekerev haaretz, the Malbim says something amazing. There are miracles done from the heavens, which involve the constellations and the stars. That Hashem wants to save a person within the laws and parameters of nature, so we call that using Shamayim. However, when Hashem wants to do supernatural miracles for a person, it's involving the earth itself, which is already the byproduct of the stars and constellations. So it's already done. It's already been fixed and done from the divines, the setup of the divine, the stars and the constellations, which affect and influence what comes down to the world. But so the result already is the Aretz. So if now in the Aretz, in the land, you do a miracle, that's really supernatural. Because already dictated from the stars and constellations, it's come down already. And after that, you make a miracle, so that's supernatural. So the verse is reading, and the Lord is my God from before, from yore, who was able to do miracles from within the earth. Hashem already did for me supernatural miracles, like at the splitting of the Red Sea, etc. Okay? On a deeper level, someone who's deep in the earth, there's an expression in Yiddish, he's in the Erd. A person is so far, so stuck in terrible situations. So he's saying, there's an expression in Yiddish, like we said, he's mamash in the earth. Poor guy. And yet, Velokim Malki Mikedem, the Lord is my king. The Lord is my king from before, that he can do salvations from within the earth. In our context, like we said at the beginning of the lesson, when you do a mitzvah b'simcha, it pulls out the holiness trapped in the domain of evil. We connote the earth as being the lowest part of our existence in this world. Our feet are on the ground. So something which is under our feet in the ground is considered the domain of impurity. And our goal is to extract the holiness trapped there, the symbolism of the earth, to elevate it to the level of the legs, like we said earlier, to have the mitzvah have momentum. Netzachot Yesod, we said earlier. So in the earth is what's below the feet. And that's where our job is to start. That's our starting point. Doing mitzvah b'simcha, extract from within the earth, okay? So it's amazing how the verse of Noson picked fits in perfectly with the same idea that he's trying to express in the verse by Yaakov Avinu in the Torah. So again, Velokim, Reb Noson, if you notice, he didn't quote the Vav, because the Vav is just connecting it to the previous verse. His focus, Reb Noson, is Elokim Malki Mikedem, that already the Lord is my king from before. That also means, on the Kabbalistic perspective, that we had in the beginning of creation what's called Shvirat HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels. That when Hashem created the universe initially, he created with initial built-in flaw, that the vessels that he created to the Sfirot, which are the makeup of this world, this universe, were independent. They were not interdependent, they were independent. So when Hashem shone, he drew his light of holiness, his energy into the 10 vessels, because they weren't interconnected. There was no achdut, there was no unity. They couldn't handle the intensity of the light and they crashed. Okay? So the crashing led to holy sparks being trapped in the evil domain. So here he's saying, Velokim Malki Mikedem, already from the beginning of the creation, Hashem made it that his Malkhut is trapped. His Malkhut being his godliness, his divine presence, the Shechina, Elokim, Lordship, etc., is the Malkhut, which is trapped now, already from the beginning. Okay? And now to extract it, Po'el Yeshuot B'kerev haaretz, Hashem will have to make miracles from within the earth. That's what's needed, miracles to get a person stuck. And taking a look at today, what people are going through today, the tests and trials and tribulations and suffering people are going through, they need nothing less than an open miracle to help them. You hear crazy stories what people are going through. You can never figure out on a rational, logical way how in the world are they going to get out of this? How are they going to make it in life? They need literally a miracle. That's what the verse is saying. The miracle starts though by extracting Elokim Melech from within the earth. And that starts with doing mitzvah b'simcha, which is why Rabbi Nachman puts such a big emphasis on being happy, and then doing mitzvah b'simcha, and then you have your chance of exodus, of revelation, of hope, b'ezrat Hashem. Okay? Amazing, huh? So we go on. First part of the condition again. Bechinat Malkhut, Bechinat Elokim, Malki Mikedem. And Reb Noson saying, like we just said, Sheze Bechinat Aliyat HaMalkhut HaNizkar Le'el. The verse where Yaakov is saying, and when the Lord will be with me, meaning I'll be successful in elevating with myself by doing mitzvah b'simcha, Hashem's Malkhut, the Lord's Malkhut. That's the idea of elevating the Malkhut from the klipot, from the earth, like the verse in Tehillim read, mentioned above. Reb Noson mentioned the idea many times already above in this discourse. Second part of the verse, Ushmarani baderech hazeh asher anochi olech. And the second condition, and like Hashem told me, He will protect me in this derech that I'm going, in which I'm going. Sorry. Because the derech that a person gains momentum from the mitzvot needs protection. Because the evil doesn't want that. The evil side doesn't want that the mitzvah should gain momentum and activate good vibes. The evil side does not want that. So even for this stage, even after you've done a mitzvah b'simcha, you still need protection. Okay? That's what he's saying. And Hashem will protect me in this derech, baderech hazeh, because again, Yaakov is running away from Esav, who wants to kill him, and he's going towards Lavan, who's the trickster, who's dangerous. In a sense, he's even more dangerous than Esav, because Lavan is white. Why is he called white? Because Lavan's trickery emanates from what's called in the Kabbalah Loven Ha'elyon, the upper whiteness, which is another term of the 50th level. Okay, that's why he made a Neder, because he has to counter the trickery, the tricksterness presented by Lavan to try to get Yaakov stuck and to kill him. Like we say in Haggadah Shel Pesach, Arami Oved Avi, an Aramean, Lavan, sought to destroy my forefather Yaakov Avinu. So he needed protection for that. Okay? On this derech. So protection on this derech, even though I'm doing mitzvah b'simcha, I need protection that the mitzvah should be so strong with the joy that the legs are protected. Meaning the legs, the mitzvah produces such good vibes, good energy without interruption, without interference. So he's saying, Ushmarani baderech hazeh anochi olech, and Hashem protect me on this path in which I'm walking. Like now Reb Noson is going to explain. Bechinat shmirat v'tikun netzachod yesod shem klei halicha v'chaniska le'el. Reb Noson adds a detail. This idea of protection, it's idea of protection and rectifying, having fixed properly. Because like we said, when no external forces are coming to bother, which is a protection, so then the legs can do their job. The spiritual aspect of the legs of the mitzvah are done with joy, which is to gain momentum and create vibes, good vibes in the world, that there's movement like molecules, moving, until they influence the whole section, like a pot when you're heating it up. It's the first initial molecules on the fire that eventually heat up the rest of the pan, of the pot, the metal. So to the mitzvah began to have momentum like molecules, shaking the whole surrounding to positive vibes towards Hashem, because that's what the mitzvah is doing. Okay? So he's saying it needs shmirah in order to allow the legs to be properly rectified of the mitzvah being done b'simcha. And like we said, that they, netzachod yesod, are the vessels of walking. Like we said, they give them a mitzvah momentum. So Yaakov Avinu said the second stage. First, Malkhut being extracted safely from the klipot, from the evil domain. Number two, netzachod yesod, the legs of momentum. And number three, the rest of the verse, V'natan li lechem lechol ubegid lilbosh, and that Hashem will give me bread to eat and a garment to wear. Watch this. It's 2 in 1. It's the hands, it's bracha, it's a blessing, but it's not just a physical blessing, it's a blessing that contains also spiritual items, spiritual awareness of Torah, which is the head, chokhmah, bina, da'at, which are revealed in the hand. So it's the level of the hands, and then the next level, which is the brain. The brain, we didn't go into the story. The brain is made up of what's called chokhmah, bina, da'at. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Okay? All three are 3 parts of the mind. How the mind works, the mochin, the intellect works, with these 3 levels of conduct. You have initial knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Each one is a different department, and they dress in the blessing of the hands, depending if the person wants that type of blessing. A person could just want a Ferrari and a Porsche and a nice house, and that's it. But a person can want a Porsche and a Ferrari and a nice house, so he can do the mitzvah of orchim. He can pick up some big rabbis with a nice car, honoring him. Just a joke, of course. But a person can have like a lot of food and blessing and do tzedakah, so it has a lot of monetary substance, so they can do mitzvot. Okay. So that's connecting the two. So look at the words, because Yaakov Avinu says, and Hashem should give to me bread to eat and beged l'ilbush and clothing to wear. In fact, the Midrash on this verse, makes fun of Yaakov. What? All you're asking for in the vow that Hashem should keep His word is for just bread and clothing? That's it? That's the whole goal? I mean, Yaakov Avinu, you're representing big stuff here, and you're saying, and Hashem will keep His word to give me bread and garments. So even though the commentaries say, and the Halakhot says, don't think it being so tiny, bread and garment, because Yaakov Avinu gave his life to ask for these two items. So on one hand, we're taught that a person should recognize, value, and give thanks for even the tiniest things. Even a morsel of bread and a garment, already for that you should give thanks. But it can't be that Yaakov Avinu making a Neder is only referring to that. So he's going to show us, the Midrash answers, that really Yaakov Avinu is referring to the highest levels of connection to God. Look at this. What is lechem le'echolu beged libosh? And he's saying, and Hashem should give me, like He promised. So when it'll take place that Hashem will give me bread to eat and a garment to wear. So bechinat birkat hayadayim. This is referring to the blessing of the hands, like we said, that because when the mitzvah has momentum, it generates energy, and the energy is blessings that come down because of doing the mitzvah b'simcha. And that's the prerequisite for eventually the Keter and the infinite light. And what is the blessing of the hands? Shehi birkat hasechel shemitlabesh befarnasa v'chule. That in this pasuk it's referred to as physical items and not spiritual, because you said bread to eat and a garment to wear. These are physical items. So he's saying it's hinting to, by at least the standards of the tzaddikim at the caliber of Yaakov Avinu, blessing of the intellect, which is, like we said earlier, enclosed in parnasa, in financial substance. That in the financial, physical sustenance of tzaddikim, they see the godliness everywhere. It's crazy. They can see the blessing of the intellect shining in the food and the garment, okay, and everything. And we mentioned this earlier, kanis kar le'el. So that's what Reb Noson is concluding. Ve'al ken be'emet lechem meramez lachma de'oraita. So in truth, like the Midrash says in the Midrash Rabbah, that in truth, bread refers to what's called the bread of the Torah. The Torah is called bread because the letters of lechem, bread, also have in them battle, milchama. The word for battle in Hebrew, to go to war, milchama. The root of milchama is the same root for bread, which is lechem. The three letters, lamed, chet, mem, are in battle, milchama, and in bread. Meaning what? To be able to absorb the bread of the Torah, you have to fight. Learning Torah is not like sitting in a library, okay, just reading another book and reading another book with your eyes and just scanning the books. Oh, I read this book, I read that book. Torah study is work. It's hard work. It's commitment. It's enunciating, articulation, understanding, working to break your head on understanding the Torah. Then you appreciate through the battle that you went through, you deserve the bread. You're the breadwinner. You're the true breadwinner of the Torah. So the Torah is called lachma de'oraita, the bread of the Torah. That's lechem. So the Midrash says, when Yaakov said, Hashem should give me lechem le'echol, that through Hashem's conditions of getting me to experience the infinite light, He will give me the bread of the Torah, which is intellect. But that it's hinted to in bread shows also that the tzaddikim, when they eat bread, they don't just eat physical bread, they eat letters of the Torah hidden in the bread. And through the bread they're eating, they reach perceptions. That's amazing. How tzaddikim, their eating brings them to higher levels, because the food that they absorb becomes nourishment. The nourishment brings new life to the body, and it's not just the physical part of the bread, but the spiritual essence sparks in the bread that become ideas in their head of the tzaddikim, able to understand things just from eating. Crazy, huh? So that's lachma d'oraita. And what's beged lilbosh? Another stage. Beged lilbosh, and a garment to wear, refers to bechinat chalukah derabanan. The Midrash uses the word talit. Reb Noson says the idea of the talit is normally Torah scholars back in the time of the Mishnah and the Gemara, the attaining, the Amoraim, they would wear a special talit indicating that they were Torah scholars. Even though every Jew wears a talit, but the Talmidei Chachamim had a specially designed talit that indicated that they were Torah scholars, and it's called chalukah derabanan, the garment of a scholar. Now, in a sense, to earn the lachma de'oraita, the bread of the Torah, once you receive the bread of the Torah, the result is chalukah derabanan, meaning the garments of the tzaddikim, indicating that tzaddikim are in a sense a higher level than the bread that they eat, the bread of the Torah that they get from eating. The garment is even higher because the bread has in it the initial ideas hidden in the Torah that they get hidden in the food, and that leads to a higher level, which is a garment of the scholars, a garment. It's called levushim de nishmata, the levushim, the garments of the neshama. Garments of the neshama refer to levels which are way beyond the person's capacity, but become internalized. It's a chaluk, it's like a garment which is outside, connoting not just protection from outside external forces, which could be harmful, but by tzaddikim, their garment outside indicates the next level awaiting to be internalized. It's totally different than a regular person. Chaluk Rabban means they now earn the title, or earn the level that now they can be working on internalizing what's external. So the external by the Chachamim is reflected in their special talit that they wore, and the special talit that they wore shows the idea of what's beyond their level, waiting to be internalized, and they've reached that level to earn, to be able to go to that. And that's what Yaakov Avinu was hinting to in Abeged Lilbosh. First lechem, and then the byproduct, which is even higher, is the garment to wear. So Reb Noson says all this to show you that by the tzaddikim, physical matter, which what Yaakov said, you can't deny the pshat. The pshat is still, and Hashem will give me bread to eat and a garment to wear. That's the pshat. It still remains true at all spiritual levels you want to understand the Torah. In the bread that Yaakov Avinu would eat and the garment he would wear, he would, number one, receive the bread of the Torah, perception of the Torah, and then the garment of the Chachamim, which is the talit, is his ways now to perceive that which is beyond him, beyond the reach, to be internalized. And Reb Noson stresses again, Ki hakol echad etzel hatzadikim kanizkar le'el. Because by the tzadikim, everything is one. Their physical sustenance and nourishment and everything they need on the physical level is already combined automatically for them with the spiritual dimension hidden inside of them. Average people have a difficulty getting to that, but it does apply even to us. A Jew, when he says a bracha on food, he says a bracha on a new garment, okay? Food and garment connect you to, you're doing mitzvot. You do mitzvot of the food you're eating. You say a blessing before and after, and those blessings is what elevates the food, even on a low level. So even by us applies bread to eat and a garment to wear, B'ezrat Hashem. Fine, we'll continue next class, but this shows you just the depth behind what Yaakov was saying, and every Jew, what they should strive for, and the stages they should expect in life, in their journey to reach the infinite light. Shalom, and until next time.